According to Islamic leaders all over the world, and in the United States, including Imam Fazl Rauf, who is planning the construction of a giant Islamic center at Ground Zero, Islamophobia is one of the greatest problems in the world today. So I thought we would examine Islamophobia today, starting with the New Year's Eve attack on the Church of All Saints in Alexandria, Egypt, which left 45 dead and many more wounded. Now, yes, I know the media initially only reported 6 or 7 deaths, and officially, according to the Egyptian officials, there are now 21 dead, maybe, and outsiders and foreigners were responsible for the attack on the church that killed so many Christians on New Year's Eve. Is that a fact? Well, back in October, 2,000 Egyptian policemen who were chanting Islamic war cries attacked St. Mary's Church in Giza near Cairo. They destroyed 25 homes, Christian homes, around the church, and they blinded dozens of people deliberately, killed others, took 130 prisoners, including women and children. Those women and children and men who were captured for, quote, violating a building permit, the reconstruction of their church, unquote, in January of 2011 are still in prison. Children. Well, then we have of November 1st, Our Lady of Salvation in Baghdad. A gunman went into it, threw in grenades at rooms, killed 2 priests at point-blank range, killed over 67. Not a single person who was in the church that evening celebrating Mass escaped without injury. What about the case of in Pakistan? Pastors killed earlier in the year. We have Asia Bibi, who is on trial, scheduled to die because she said the horrible blasphemous thing about Islam, that she was permitted to drink out of the same well as a Muslim, something that is forbidden under Sharia law. Then we have those in Afghanistan, also Christians, who are in jail for long term for saying minor things. All over the Islamic world, blasphemy laws are used to imprison, to harass, and to steal from Christians. Islamic imams get up every Friday telling lies about Christians and their community in order to cause people to go out and attack them. There was just several attacks that were barely stopped in Europe, including one in the Netherlands, in which Muslims were going to attack a building and kill as many people as possible because several years ago cartoons were printed that may or may not have mocked Muhammad. Dozens of people have already died all over the world because of those cartoons. Producers of shows in the United States have been threatened with violence and even death if they were to criticize Islam. Newspapers, particularly liberal newspapers, refuse to use the word Islam and terror in the same sentence for fear that they might be killed. Oh, I'm sorry. This is supposed to be about Islamophobia and how persecuted Muslims are. Well, let me see. What has happened in the United States? Well, there's the Muslim television producer that beheaded his wife. Oh, she was a Muslim, so that must be Islamophobia. And then there are the Muslim fathers who have murdered their daughters for the family's honor in the United States. Well, the girls were Muslim, so that must be Islamophobia. The hate crime statistics in the United States are plain. Jews are persecuted first and foremost, followed by Christians, followed by other groups, and last but not least, Muslims. Yet, according to Michael Bloomberg, who again wants to build this gigantic Islamic center at Ground Zero, our President, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, our Secretary of State, Holder, our Attorney General, all seem to agree on one thing. Islamophobia is a major problem in the United States, and the only way to fix it is to somehow force Christians and others not to say anything negative about Islam. Let's get real. This is submission. It is official submission. When mayors and presidents and governors and other officials are so afraid of violence that they want the general population of the United States to submit to Islam and claim that it is something that it isn't. Islam is not a religion of peace. And all that anyone has to do is look at the constant repression all over the world by Islam against members of other religions. Back to Iraq. Since the Iraqi war began, more than half of the Christians have been forced out. And while many Muslims have been brought to the United States who claim persecution in Iraq, those Christian Iraqis, for the most part, continue to remain as displaced persons. This needs to stop. Our tax dollars are going to Afghanistan, Pakistan, Egypt, Iraq, and other Muslim countries. Our brave young and women are fighting there to maintain order in nations that are persecuting Christians and other religious minorities. When does this stop? When do we wake up? This is our money. The overwhelming majority of the United States, our population, is Christian and Jewish. Probably those two figures combined are more than 85%. That means that 85% of our tax dollars that go to those Islamic nations come from Christians and Jews that are handed over to people that persecute Christians and Jews and murder them. This needs to stop. Our young men and women need to come home, and our tax dollars need to come home. Our Congress needs to do something. I urge you, contact your congressman, contact your senator, and say enough. I don't want my money used by Muslim nations to persecute and kill Christians, Jews, and other religious minorities. It has to stop. And as far as Islamophobia is concerned, let's get real. It's a joke. The problem in the world is the persecution of Christians and Jews at the hands of Muslims. That's the real problem. I'm William J. Murray, Chairman, Religious Freedom Coalition, Washington, D.C.